Hey guys, welcome back to Bearded Lumber. Matthew and I appreciate you tuning in today. As you can see, we're standing here in front of our winding molder. We're getting ready to run some tongue groove, V-groove pine boards this morning. But we got our hog head here. It needs a little maintenance done to it. And that's going to be the purpose of today's video, is explaining what this cutter head is and what it does in relation to this machine. So hang on, we'll be right back. Okay guys, welcome back. Let's talk about what we got here this morning. Matthew's holding, this is the first cutter head on our winding molder. It does, unfortunately, it does the majority of the hard work, the heavy lifting. This is an aluminum body, helical cutter. Has how many flutes on it? One, two. Has 4 flutes that go in a spiral. And if you've ever seen a metal shear where it kind of just, it don't chop the wood, it kind of slices it. That's what these helical heads do. Instead of an 8-inch board where it's just trying to take a solid face, it's cutting it at a diagonal as it's going through. These are well known for not leaving the best finish. We got one on our grizzly planer out there. But efficiency and ease of operation and less horsepower are its attributes, and longevity. This is our, like I say, our first cutter head on the bottom, which is the face. If you catch any kind of foreign material, dirt, grit, sand, nails, and tear up a tooth or multiple teeth, they can be replaced. There's a box of 10 carbides. I thought these were the same as our grizzly. You know how you get when you make assumptions. We took it apart one day last week because we had chipped a tooth, and then we found out that the grizzly is a 1 millimeter by half carbide insert. These are a 1.5 millimeter thick by 15 millimeter diameter or square insert carbide. So they're one size up. So we went through, we ordered enough of them to basically replace them all. And the reason we're replacing them all is we've had them all off and looked at them, and it's time. We just put a whole new set on. They got 4 sides, so unless you break one, when after they get dull, you just basically take them off, clean them, turn them one turn, put them back down. And you can do that 4 times. Now, if you break it, it's gone. But I like these cutter heads. Like I say, they're not the best finish, but they do the best heavy duty work. So this front cutter, we can take anywhere from 20 thousandths to 3/16 of an inch if we need to. Now 3/16 gets a bit aggressive, but it will take an 1/8, 150 thousandths, not even grumble about it. So that's the goal this morning. It just takes time. There's 45 teeth on here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's 48 individual teeth on here. So you got to take out 48 screws. You got to clean 48 pockets. And then if you're turning the heads, you got to clean 48 teeth and put them back on. But in our case, we'll keep all these as spares, and we'll just be cleaning the pockets on the head, popping new ones in. So much as we hate time lapse, we're gonna probably have one because this just takes time, people. Let's get to it. Okay guys, you can see this first row, Matthew got them off. Now I have sprayed this with a little PB blaster, but the wire brush cleaned it right off, got the pockets. All these saddles need to be clean. They're good and clean. We'll go ahead and clean the inside of here. This takes time. That's what, you don't have to clean it every day, but when you're changing the teeth, they definitely, all these saddles need to be cleaned. So let's just continue on. Okay guys, it goes without saying that cleanliness is very important in this machine. There's a lot of weights, a lot of balances, a lot of high RPMs. We're taking our time this morning cleaning up this cutter head, and for good reason. We need it to perform at a high level, and it's worth the time and effort to keep it in good shape. These spiral head cutters, they're over $1,200 a piece. There's no excuse for not taking good care of it. The knives, new insert cutters, it wasn't too bad, a couple $100. But just the head itself is worth taking good care of, keeping it tooled up the way it should be, keeping it sharp. It's not a throwaway item. In our culture, we're so used to having throwaway tools, throwaway, this, that, and the other. These are not throwaway items. These are, take good care of them, maintain them, and they'll last you for lots of years. And that's what we're doing. We don't clean it every day. We've run thousands and thousands of board feet on it, and we did turn the knives the other day because we noticed a few of them had chipped, and then that's when we noticed we'd all just go ahead and put a new set on it. So this is our second time working on it since we really started using it, and this is just an ongoing maintenance thing. The top head and the bottom head on the way out have the center lock 230 millimeter straight knives. We work on those quite a bit. Normally every time before we run them, even though they're sharp, we'll take a diamond hole and do just a little micro finish on it. It's like a pocket knife. It's sharp, but you can take it on a wet rock, or a set of chopsticks, and you take it from sharp to laser sharp. And that's kind of our goal with those. But this video is about taking care of this spiral head. Not sure the proper name for it. They call it a hog head because it hogs off a lot of work, but that's not the proper name. I believe it's I can give you the long part number on it, but it's a spiral head cutter. Spore that might come off with you. One more round and Matthew will have them all off. I was about to say we, but I don't have a rock in my pocket, so we're watching Matthew do it. Okay guys, Matthew brings up a good point. Why is this cutter head dirty with pitch on it? And kiln dried pine has a little pitch in it, but the benefit of kiln drying pine is the higher you take your sterilizing temperature, So we dry it, finish dry it at like 120 degrees, down to 7, 8, 9%. And then sterilize it, we'll take it up to 145. Like to go a little higher, but it's hard to in the wintertime. 145. So the pitch that's naturally in your pine boards, the higher that temperature goes, the higher the crystallization is in your pitch, which means in order for that pitch to turn back to goo that gums up your tools, your sandpaper, you got to be above my highest temperature of kiln dried, 145 degrees. We run some pine last week for a YouTube customer that he had sawed, and he had adequately air dried. But when you air dry, your highest temperature is whatever the highest temperature that day happened to be. And under out in the sun, sitting under a stack of 10, maybe 115, 120 degrees, maybe stacked in your attic. My grandpa used to dry all his wood stacked in the attic. Now you can get up to 135, 45 degrees in the attic in the middle of summer. But we could tell his woods was still a little pitchy, and that's probably what did a lot of the gumming up. And that's one of the benefits of kiln drying pine, is to raise that pitch temperature up high enough to where if you're sanding it with your orbital sander and you get it to 125 degrees, that pine rosin don't turn back to goo and just gum up your paper. If it is, your wood probably wasn't kiln dried at a high enough temperature, or it was air dried. So, little tech tip there. Let's talk about the knives, or cutters, insert cutters. This is a good one. You see it's kind of square on all 4 sides. This one's not. It's been chipped, it's been broken, especially right across here. Here's one, you can look, the face, you know, something went through there that it didn't like. Chipped off the corners. Yeah, I got that one.
Put it there and throw them away later.
You had a new one out. Oh, Matthew's got a nice shiny new one. Let's see if we can get a close up on it. See how crisp the corners are? That's what you're wanting. You know that, and they won't look that way forever. You know, if we miss, a biggest issue we've run into, people, is we move these stacks of lumber around with our tractor, and on the top of them forks, sometimes you'll get some dirt, some foreign debris, and you move that stack, and then you've introduced that to the bottom of your stack. So I've got a lot more conscious of making sure that we don't have any foreign debris, and in our case it's sand, dirt, mud, and get that cleaned off. That's why I keep a wire brush over here. If you run that through this cutter head, you're gonna take a nice pretty knife like that, or cutter, and you're gonna make it look like this one. So that's talking about it. Matthew's got it completely apart, got it completely cleaned. We're gonna put it back together. So here we go. Okay guys, you can see Matthew's still replacing all our cutter heads. Now, one thing I didn't show you on this brand here, and most of them have numbers. If you look in the corners, 1, 2, 3, and that one's supposed to be 4. He's putting these cutter heads in a certain way, basically with number 1 up here on this corner, so that later when we turn them, we can basically pick the knife up, clean it, and reinstall it with the number 2 on the corner, and we'll have a sharp face.
Instead of having to use a Sharpie like we did earlier.
Right, if you look here, let's see if I can find one. Most of them got wore off, but I did. Yeah, there's one. I can get it picked up. If you look, you can see the faint remainders of a Sharpie line. And what we'll do is we'll put a Sharpie mark right across the front face, take them all off, clean them, and then when we put it back on, we'll turn that Sharpie face one side, because these weren't numbered. There's no 1, 2, 3, 4 on them. But if you can visibly see how much that one is worn down. Well, that hadn't had a rough life. Yeah, it was definitely needing. We could have got by with turning them, but we had no spares. So it made better sense to go ahead and just put new ones in, and we'll keep all these good ones as spares. Because you're gonna break a tooth, something's gonna get in there and snap one, and normally if you get one, you'll get a couple. So you gotta have some spares. That's why I just went ahead and replaced them all. Now it had 48, probably 40 of those are acceptable spares. Same thing with my grizzly. You go out there in the toolbox, we got hundreds of spare teeth for that grizzly. Now Matthew tightened them by hand. I'm gonna take the ratchet and just verify they're snug. They gotta be tight, but if you over tighten them, you will shatter the carbide. Or if you have some foreign material under that carbide where it don't set flat, it will shatter. Okay. I'm taking his empty containers and putting the good used ones back in. Okay. I'm gonna take my Sharpie just for good measure, make a note on here that they are used. Okay guys, sorry about the time lapse. We tried to stop a good bit in there and do some talking, but this is our completed Weining spiral head cutter with 15 millimeter insert, carbide inserts. We went through, took them all off, cleaned the pockets. Matthew reinstalled them all. I went through and tightened them all by hand. Guys, you can use a torque wrench. I've tightened wrenches my whole life, and I got a pretty good calibrated arm. And I'm not just grinding them down. I'm feeling how much stretch or compression I'm getting, and I'm just wanting that consistent feel. Just, you know, if you don't use a wrench every day, get your little quarter drive, 3/8 drive torque wrench and use it. It's probably what, 10-15 pounds at the most, but that's on you. Be careful with it. Let's talk about this head. Notice one thing we didn't discuss. If you look here, there's a dimple, and right here is a dimple. Now, what are those for? Let me give you a little free advice. If you pick up a head from somebody, you know, I bought some off of Facebook Marketplace myself. If you pick up a head and you roll it around, you can't find a dimple in it, that head's never been balanced. Because no head is perfect the way it's manufactured. And they spin balance these and there'll be a dimple. Even all our steel heads, there'll be a few dimples around that head because they don't add weight, they subtract weight. They'll put that thing on a spin balancer and it'll figure out where they need to remove a little weight, and they'll drill a little dimple, spin it again, and then they may need to go over here and do a little bit. So just a little tech tip. If your head has no dimples in it, it's never been spin balanced, don't run it. Send it back. If it's a Weining, send it back to Weining. If it's another brand, you know, send it back to them, or I think Weining will balance anybody's heads. It's super important with these. It keeps your machine in balance. These spindles are obscenely expensive, in the neighborhood of $6,000 to $8,000 if you destroy one. It's considerably less if it's rebuildable, but it's still, you know, a couple $1,000, because they'll take that head apart and rebuild it, rebury it, remachine it if needed, and then they're going to spin balance that head. So anything you can do to make that head last longer is a good thing. That's why these heads have to be balanced. This one, you know, it's got 46 insert carbides. Matthew correctly, there's only 2 outboard cutters here, so it's 46, not 48. But when you're using a 2-wing cutter, those 2 knives need to be within the microgram of each other as far as weight balance to keep that head spinning true and not, you know, oscillating. So, I think that's gonna do it on this. Anything else, Matthew? It's just work, people. Comes with it. Yeah, it's a whole lot quicker to change, you know, 2 knives on a head and stick it back in there. But a 2-knife head won't do what we need it to do on this inboard cutter. So it's worth the time and trouble. Linear feet, oh Lord. We got a grizzly planer out there that's on its 3rd set of knives in 10, 12 years, and it's run thousands upon thousands of linear feet of lumber. And these will do the same as long as you keep the dirt, the grit, and the nails out of them. That's going to do it, guys. I hope this helps. Now, this is good information whether you're running a Weining, a Wood Mizer, a Sonix, just name your brand, or a grizzly planer, or any other spiral head planer. You're going to do the same thing. They need to be kept clean, balanced, and sharp. So, as always, we appreciate the people helping us out. Matthew and Solomon doing our videos. Couldn't do it without them. If you get a chance, check out Solomon's channel, Third Beard Fishing. Sucker caught a big old bass the other day. It was nice. But anyway, he can tell you about that. That's going to do it for today, guys. We appreciate you watching, and we'll see you back at the mill.
Thank you for watching. Here's a video selection and a playlist suggestion. Click here to subscribe for more great content. We'll see you at the mill.